I welcome you to this session to understand about the standardization of materials. Mass production techniques of industrial production are based on the principle of uniformity and interchangeability of many parts, components and materials used in the production process. Standard products can be manufactured on a mass scale and their production costs can be kept minimum. Standardization leads to a cheaper and easier procurement, and cost of replacement can also be reduced. In our country, Indian Standards Institution (ISI) is a national body which deals with the standardization at the national level. There are various committees dealing with the different industries who formulate national standards. ISI, in collaboration with NTH, National Test House, and with the help of their control laboratories, they issue the ISI certification mark, which is a third party and is accepted nationally as a proof of standard quality. Some of the international standards are British Standards, American Standards Association, or the American Society for Testing Materials. However, all the industrially advanced countries in the world have their own national standards. The International Standards Organization, with its headquarters at Geneva, issues international specifications. India, being a member of ISO, adopts standards are meant for economy, efficiency and convenience, while there may be general acceptance as to the desirability of standardization. There is no possibility of complete standardization in practice. Designing a product and its manufacturing is not simple matter of assembling standard products. In the years of British rule in India, when the country was faced with before going to the standardization in detail, let us now see what is the Standardization Institute that is available in India. Before going to the standardization in detail, let us now see what is the Standardization Institute that is available in India. In the years of British rule in India, when the country was faced with the gigantic task of building up the industrial infrastructure, it was the Institution of Engineers, which was formed in India, prepared the first draft of the constitution of an institution which could take up the task of formulation of national standards. This led to the Department of Industries and Supplies issuing a memorandum on 3rd September 1946, formally announcing the setting up an organization called Indian Standards Institution. The ISI came into being on 6th January 1947, and in June 1947, Dr. Verman took over as its first director. In the initial years, the organization concentrated on standardization activity. To provide the advantages of standardization to the common consumers, the ISI started operating the certification marks scheme under the ISI Institution Certification Marks Act 1952. The scheme, which was formally launched by ISI in 1955 to 56, enabled it to grant licenses to the manufacturers producing goods in conformity with Indian standards and to apply ISI mark on their products. To meet the requirements of the certification mark scheme, the nucleus of the laboratory was started in 1963. While the product certification was being operated under the ISI Certification Marks Act 1952. The formulation of standards and other related work were not governed by any legislation. A bill with this objective was therefore introduced in the Parliament of 26th November 1986. Bureau of Indian Standards (BIS) came into existence through an Act of Parliament dated 26th November 1986 on 1st April 1987 with a broadened scope and more powers taking over the staff, assets, liabilities and functions of ISI. Through this changeover, the government envisaged building a climate for quality culture and consciousness and greater participation of the consumers in the formulation and implementation of national standards. This Bureau is a body corporate consisting of 25 members representing both central and state governments. Members of the Parliament, industry, scientific and research institutions, the consumer organizations and professional bodies with the Union Minister of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution as its President and with the Minister of State for Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution as its Vice President. This is considered to be a national body established under the Act 2016, this Act 2016, and the harmonious development of the activities of standardization, marking and quality certification of goods and the other matters are said to be the major objectives of the BIS. This major objectives of BIS 2016 was notified by the government on 22nd March 2016 and it came into force on 12th October 2017 and it is considered to be the National Standards Body of India and this stands as a major institute in our India for establishing the standards. And this has a headquarters at Delhi with the regional offices as Eastern region at Kolkata, Southern region at Chennai, Western region at Mumbai, Northern region at Chandigarh and Central region as Delhi, and they have 20 branch offices. With this basic legal framework of Standards Institute in our India, let us now see what are all the major activities that are to be formed under standardization in an organization. The operations of many companies consist of manufacturing the products to special according to the specifications of the customers over which they have virtually no control. Such inherent limitations imposed by such special factors frequently results in complete standardization. Yet every effort should be made to follow it. In the field of stores and materials management, standardization enables industry to proceed on scientific lines to locate the factors influencing preparation of inventory control programs for achieving economy of materials and parts, avoiding the wastages, disposal of unwanted stores and reduction in stock. Again, through standardization and variety reduction, rationalized codification becomes easier. The role of standardization and variety reduction in inventory simplification has therefore real significance in industrial materials management field. The standards could cover a variety of industries such as engineering, textiles, chemical, pharmaceutical and agricultural as well as education. Certain points to remember regarding standardization are as follows. Standards are at the basis of mass production and they make possible thousands of different items to be placed within the reach of everybody. When one purchases a new scooter or a car, he knows that it will go into the engine, headlight, all right. Why? Because again, through standardization and variety reduction, rationalized codification becomes easier. The role of standardization and variety reduction in inventory simplification has therefore a real significance in the industrial management field. The standards could cover a variety of industries such as engineering, textiles, chemical, pharmaceutical and agricultural as well as the educational sector. We shall see the points to be remembered regarding the standardization. Standards are said to be the basis of all production. They make it possible thousands of different items to be placed within the reach of everybody. When one purchases a new spark plug for a scooter or a car, he knows that it will screw into an engine head or light. Why? Because the spark plug threads are said to be standardized. Standards convey the sense that there are only certain specific sizes made and sold. They are carefully established specifications for products and the materials. Standardization means producing maximum variety of products from minimum variety of materials, parts, tools and processes. And these materials, parts, tools and processes are also standardized. Standardization is the way in which it leads to the economical products also. Standardization usually means that non-standard products will not be produced except when the customer orders them to be made. Standardization is a process of establishing standards or units of measure by which extent quality, quantity, value, performance, etc. can be compared and measured. The steps involved in the standardization procedures are: the company has to define the standard range of the products with the help of the market research and the statistics of sales. From this range, they can ask an engineer to develop a minimum variety of components to match the range and introduce the new components or new materials if necessary. With the standardization, meaning on the institutes governing the standardization, we shall now see what will be the advantages that can be reaped by an organization through the standardization. All sections of the manufacturing concern will definitely enjoy the benefits of standardization. Let us now see each section one by one. First is the design department. Fewer specifications, drawings and part lists have to be prepared and issued. Thus, more item is available to develop new designs or to improve the established designs. And the design department can also go in for the better utilization of the resources, and this will result in the lesser design mistakes and lesser design alterations. Less qualified personnel can also handle the routine design work. Even the semi-skilled personnel can go in for the handling of the design work, which is said to be monotonous one, by following the standards. Next is the manufacturing department. Manufacturing department reaps the following benefits. First is producing better quality products, reducing the unit costs, going in for the methods of handling the different tools, better methods in handling the different tools, the better services of production control, stock control, purchasing, etc. And they can go in for the very few changes in the tool changes and the process setups. So whenever you are going to change the tools, the modifications and the changes will be, the tools will be very less. Next comes the manufacturing department. We shall now see what were the benefits that are enjoyed by the manufacturing department. They can produce better quality products at a minimal cost. They can go in for the better methods of handling the tools, better services of the production control, stock control, purchasing procedures, etc. Fewer tool changes and process setups, increased interchangeability of parts, better utilization of manpower and equipment, longer production runs are possible with fewer changeovers and wider use of the automation and mechanization. The operations can also be analyzed and broken down into short repetitive cycles which can be easily mastered. Next comes the marketing department. The marketing department normally gets better quality products of a proven design at a reasonable prices. This leads to the greater sales volume, and this increased sales volume will result in greater margin of profit. And there is also less pressure on the after-sales services. The products will be delivered in a better manner and the availability of spare parts will be made easier. The production planning sections can go in for the improved methods, improved processes, improved layouts, and the opportunities for the tool designing will be more, and pre-production planning activities will get reduced because everything is standardized and there will be fewer problems of new planning parts. The production control department can go in for the proven design and proven methods, and they can go in for the improvement in the production planning and control. Fewer delays may arise from waiting of materials, the instructions, the tools, equipments, etc. and the delivery promises will be more accurate. The production and stock control section. The production and stock control section can hold the stock of the standard items with less paperwork and with fewer requisitions and orders. The storage and part location can be improved. Because of the large purchase quantities, favorable purchase contracts can be made and the new techniques will be implemented for the stock control. The quality control department will go in for the best instruction methods and the operators will be familiar with the work and produce the jobs with the expected quality and with a consistent quality. And the quality standards will also be defined by the quality control department in a very efficient manner. So the advantages of standardization will be enjoyed by the design department, manufacturing department, marketing department, production planning section, production control department, production and stock control section, quality control department. With the background of the advantages, we can now see there are very small disadvantages of standardization and that can be removed or that can be tackled by the organization by their own strategies. Reduction in choice will be there because everything is standardized, so the variety will be reduced and there may be loss in the business or loss of customers in the market. Changes in the public taste, that is the changes in the consumers' taste, consumers in the market may seriously affect the companies producing only the standard products. That is, the consumers' expectations cannot be fully met. It becomes difficult to introduce new models because of less flexible production facilities and due to high cost of specialized production department. Standardization tends to favor large famous companies because small and new concerns can largely get much business even by producing the same items and by selling them at the same price as the big companies. Standards are once said, they resist changes and thus standardization may become an obstacle to the progress. Though we have the disadvantages like this, there are more of advantages, so standardization has to be followed in any organization. The application of standardization can be made in the field of finished products, sub-assemblies and components, materials, especially in the direct materials, because direct raw materials will definitely decide about the quality of the finished product, and the production equipment should also be standardized. This standardization will always result in simplification, and we shall see how this standardization will go for simplification. Codification is the first step, standardization is the second step, and the last one is the simplification. The process of standardization logically leads to simplification or variety reduction. This implies reducing unnecessarily varieties to be sorted out. That is, the varieties are reduced, unnecessary varieties are not prepared. Though we have few disadvantages of standardization, keeping in mind the advantages of standardization, every organization should go in for standardization. Thus, codification will lead to standardization and standardization will lead to the simplification. This simplification or variety reduction is said to be the result or the logical connect to the standardization. This says that reducing the unnecessary varieties and standardizing to the most economical sizes, grades, shapes, colors, and so on. In large organizations handling lakhs of items, it is quite possible that there are several effectiveness. Nevertheless, these continue to be in stock for historical reasons. The items can be analyzed for their frequency of usage over the past years. Such frequency or moment analysis would bring out items which are seldom used or not at all used. On the basis of this analysis, the organization could set the standards to replace these items. The concept of simplification is largely closest to the standardization. It is related to the standardization. Simplification is said to be the process of reducing the variety of the products manufactured. This concerns the reduction of product range, assemblies, parts, materials, and design. A manufacturer may reduce the number of different types of radio sets from a dozen to 3 or 4 to simplify his range. Simplification makes a product assembly or design simpler, less complex, or less difficult. Simplification removes the superfluous and decreases the variety of size. The availability of the suitable standards assists in simplification. While simplifying the items, the organization must look into the strategy of adopting the standardization. While adopting the standardization, they must understand the nature of the items, how this standardization and simplification will be viewed by the customer in a market, and how he will change his taste and preferences and what will be the impact on the volume of sales. Now we shall see the advantages of the simplification. Simplification always involves fewer parts. As we said, it is a reduction in varieties, and the changes in the parts, they reduces the manufacturing operations and risk of the obsolescence. As this simplification reduces the variety, volume of the remaining products may be increased. The number of units to be stored for the existing products can be increased. The simplification involves quick delivery and better after-sales service. Simplification reduces the inventory and thus results in better inventory control. Generally speaking, simplification means fewer parts, and fewer the parts, the lower are the production cost. So the cost control and cost reduction is possible because of this simplification. Simplification also reduces the price of the product and it improves the product quality. So as you know, the organization has to handle a large number of materials with a varying degrees of size, shapes, colors, prices, and various properties, the sources of supply, etc. To meet all these complexities, the items are to be classified accordingly. So classification is very important. After this, we will go in for the identifying the materials. After identifying the materials, we will describe the materials. We will go in for the codification to describe the materials. After codification is made, automatically it will result on the standardization, and standardization will result on the simplification. So different dimensions, different characteristics of an item are standardized, and this standardization will definitely result in many benefits to the organization, to all the operational departments, and this results in the simplification and variety reduction. Thus, classification, codification, standardization and simplification is a process in which an organization can benefit in the materials management. Thank you.